Before I dive into this story, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and share your thoughts in the comments, because what I went through wasn't just a betrayal. It was a life-shattering misunderstanding that no one saw coming. It started with a text. A single message from my wife, Lisa, at 11:23 p.m. "We need to talk. Don't come home tonight." I froze. My heart raced. My hands trembled over the phone. We had been married for 17 years. 17 years of shared memories, late-night talks, and quiet mornings over coffee. Nothing, I thought, could shake that bond. But that night, I realized I was wrong. At first, I tried to rationalize. Maybe she was upset about something trivial, a fight over bills or chores. I didn't want to panic, but when I called her, the line went straight to voicemail. I sent messages, all unanswered. The next morning, I arrived at our home, expecting to find her waiting with an explanation. She wasn't there. The house smelled like breakfast had been made, but no one had eaten. And then she handed me a small, trembling note. "I can't trust you anymore. Leave. Now." Confusion turned into disbelief. I had no idea what I had done. Over the next few days, subtle signs piled up. Lisa avoided my gaze, flinched when I touched her arm, whispered hurried explanations that never added up. I found hidden messages on her phone. Messages from my stepdaughter, Emily. Notes filled with exaggerated grievances, accusations I couldn't believe, and claims that I had done things I didn't even know were possible. It was Emily who had sown the seeds of distrust. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I had missed signs. Maybe my inattention had pushed Lisa away. But the more I observed, the more inconsistencies appeared. Emily's stories were full of holes. Timing didn't match. Details didn't add up. And yet, Lisa's eyes were filled with hurt and suspicion, as if I had committed a crime. I started keeping a journal, writing every interaction, every missed call, every fleeting smile that now felt like a lie. Even the smallest moments of our 17 years, the nights we stayed up laughing, the vacations, the simple dinners, suddenly felt like scenes from someone else's life. Memories that once warmed me now stung. Then came the confrontation. I had to know, or I'd lose myself to this confusion. "Lisa," I said one evening, my voice breaking, "please, tell me what happened. What am I being accused of?" She looked at me, eyes red, fingers twisting in her lap. "Emily," she said, things about you." "I know it's her," I said, urgency rising. "It's not true, is it?" Tears fell freely from her eyes. "I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know who you are anymore." I took a deep breath, struggling to stay calm. "You've known me for 17 years. Do you really think I could do something to hurt you? Or hurt her?" She said nothing. It was then that I realized something important. Betrayal doesn't always come from malice. Sometimes it comes from fear, from doubt, from someone you love believing a lie. I knew I couldn't force her to trust me again, not immediately, but I could uncover the truth. I started digging, carefully, methodically, phone records, social media, every piece of evidence Emily had used. And there it was, a clear trail of exaggeration, lies, and manipulation. Emily had painted me as a villain in her story, twisting moments of discipline or correction into acts of cruelty. The revelation hit me in waves. Anger, yes, but also sorrow. Sorrow that someone I loved so much could be so easily swayed, that the years we had built together could be so fragile. I brought the evidence to Lisa. We sat in silence, the weight of weeks pressing down on us. "I was wrong to believe her without asking," she whispered, voice trembling. I thought I saw the truth, but I was blind. I wanted to scream, to cry, to shake her until the fear left her eyes. But instead, I reached for her hand. "It's not just on you," I said softly. "We were all caught in this, all three of us." It wasn't a happy reunion. Trust doesn't heal instantly, but it was a beginning of understanding, the first fragile thread of rebuilding what had been torn apart. We sought counseling, talked late into the night, and slowly, painstakingly, learned to differentiate between fear, lies, and reality. Even now, months later, the memory stings. I think about the nights I spent sleeping on the couch, the empty silence of a house that was ours, and the realization that love alone isn't always enough to protect you from deception. But I also learned resilience. I learned that truth matters, that communication is essential, and that even in the darkest betrayals, there can be clarity. So, if you're listening to this and you've ever been blindsided by lies, remember this. Pain doesn't define you, but how you respond does. Stand for yourself, search the truth, and don't let fear dictate your life. I hope my story gives you strength, but I also want to hear yours. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced betrayal, whether from a partner or someone you trusted? How did you survive it? And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that explore the raw, emotional truths of human relationships. Because these aren't just stories. They're lessons in love, trust, and survival. Sometimes, the hardest moments don't break you. They teach you who you are. And slowly, quietly, we rebuild.